latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm going to a bit of a review video on a new product from Dometic. So with me here I've got the Dometic Ace All Season Air Awning. So essentially the Ace All Season is available in two sizes, a 400 and a 500, and that refers to kind of the overall width. We've seen the Ace probably in the previous years, certainly in the All Season range. There's a sort of a similar sort of theme with this in terms of the design, but it kind of it's quite a bit different. So the previous Ace All Season used to be about 3 meters deep. Here we're actually 325, so we're actually extending the depth as well. We've got almost like a little bit more upright front as well to give you a bit more internal height. So it's going to feel bigger and quite spacious inside, which is what you want really. Like I said, available in two sizes, a 400 and a 500. The 400 I've definitely seen being probably the more popular size, just because I think it's going to fit. I mean, we've got a twin axle caravan here. We could probably just about squeeze a 5 meter in, but really it's going to be a bit of a beast to fit in. You do have the ability with the model to actually add extensions on either end. So there's a zip located on both sides, so you can buy a left-hand extension or then a right-hand extension. Other way around, apologies. So you can make it bigger, and actually in theory it can be bigger than the caravan. So you've got something that's quite versatile in the sense it can be left up for a long period of time, hence the all-season name. But you can actually add bits on as you go down. And like I said, having something that's big in the caravan means that you've got more space for ability with sleeping and things like that as well. So the all-season fabric is basically Dometic's kind of force shield fabric. Something they've ran in the range for a few years, and probably you know it in its previous name as in Camper. So it's really well tried and tested, been in their range for the best part of over 10 years. And it's really just an additional update, or almost replacing a model that used to be in the range many years down the line. Like I said, it's 325 deep and a 4 or 5 meters wide. It's got two new sizing regimes, so you've got like an S and M size. The S size will basically do anything from a fixation height of 235 up to 265. So what you find with that is actually that this model can now actually fit caravans as well as motorhomes, and you've got a dual beading on there. So you've got a 6mm for your caravan rail or a 4mm for your winder awning in your motorhome. So you've got the flexibility that it will fit anything. So it makes it really nice and versatile. So you can go for something that this design is kind of bay window kind of style front, giving you that sort of great panoramic views around the campsite. But again, you can, doesn't matter what vehicle you have or whether you switch over at a later date, you know, in theory it's got a bit more range of fitting. You've got a single inflation point located at the front. Thank you much. So one point pumps up the whole tent itself. And we've got our own Attwoolls pitching and packing videos, sort of one doing like a tutorial video, actually me pitching this awning on my own. Alternatively, we've also got one from a long shot in the same as the Pro model. So you can get this model in a Pro fabric, which is more meant for touring uses, for a little bit lighter, easier transport to and from. Really, you wouldn't want to use that more than 5 or 6 times a year, for a week that is, just because the fabric's not going to sort of last the lifespan you probably want to. That's where certainly the all-season model is that next step up. Admittedly, it's a next jump in price point, but it's breathable for one, so it means you get a lot, you know, it's going to be a lot cooler on a warm day. So if you're going to again to sort of continental Europe, it's definitely more of a must than say normal Pro version. But even if you just want a bit more of a comfortable environment inside of there, that's again where that breathability is going to be a big help. Other things to mention as well about the fabric is that you've got, like I said, longer lifespan, but it's kind of got a bit more of a quieter feel. It's not sort of that sort of synthetic kind of flapping around noise. Immediately the weight does jump up quite a bit, so between the normal and the Pro, it's definitely horses for courses on that one really. And what you find is that both models come in sort of 2 bags, just make it a bit more manageable when you're sort of packing away, but also when you get in the caravan as well. It's a heavy old lump otherwise. Like I said before, we've got a single inflation point and you get a pump supplied with it as well. Immediately I'd probably say it's definitely worth looking at buying the additional electric pump you can buy, which is the Gale pump. Makes life a lot easier and certainly easier to manage the pressure you're putting into it. So you can easily set it to sort of say 9 psi is what the recommendation is. It'll cut off when it gets that pressure. The downdraft pump does the job, and I've used it for our own pitching videos, but it's a little bit harder to kind of confirm the sort of the pressure inside because it only gives you an indication on the down slope. So that's that with there. From a packing point of view, very easy to pack away, and you've got several deflation valves. So the bottom of each individual beam, you've got an access point you can just open it up, allow the air to come through, and that makes life a lot simpler for sure. Like I said, with the bay window kind of front, you've got these beautiful kind of PVC windows, but you've got sort of traditional kind of caravan style curtains behind there to get the privacy as and when you wanted to. You've got this kind of single point system where you peg the base as well as the guide point, and you can quite easily notch and adjust it. A brow kind of canopy pole, really quite smart, means that when you have the doors or veranda kind of style open like this, the rain's not going to come directly down and drip into the point, so it makes it nice a lot easier as well. But I think also it's a bit more of a throwback to kind of a more traditional look, but with a bit more of a modern twist with kind of the front parts. And certainly with a deeper depth, you're never really going to be short for space inside of there as such. Other things to mention is that all of the panels can be completely removed, so the front 3 panels and the side panels can be removed. Like I said, that's where you got a secondary bag to make it easier to transport it, but certainly for feeding it into the rail makes life a little bit lighter by just feeding it directly in. Trigger happy. But then you've got multiple zips, so you can create a veranda kind of style on all the door sections. And the 2 side panels can sort of zip in and out, so you can actually replace one with the other, swap them over. Now what that's kind of going to give you is the ability of moving the side door that's built into it from the back directly to the front. You've also got a window on either side. One side's got mesh built into it, the other's just a normal PVC window. You've still got a PVC covering to kind of close it up as you see fit, but it's quite nice having the option. Going back to also the fact that it's now dual fitting, so you've got the ability, like I said, to fit this for a motorhome as well as a caravan. Now, the reason that you have such a variance in height in comparison to other brands is there is additional zip located along the edge here. So you can almost unzip this completely. It's got a zip internally and externally, and in that then adjust the height kind of upwards. Like I said, when you do that internal zips. So that means suddenly now you can fix it to a much higher point and you've got that flexibility. It also means that necessarily, like I say, if you're on even sort of a pitch, you can sort of undo that zip, drop that edge down and just take up that extra slack. So that as a different play is quite nice. It's something that kind of was introduced into the range for 21 and I think it's worked really nicely. You've still got your apex vent up here to help that circulation of air, and that's very crucial because you do often get a lot of condensation in these awnings. Admittedly, the kind of all-season models are a bit better because they breathe, which you don't get with the polyester. So that's definitely another plus point in the relation going for an all-season, even if you're not going to use it for all-season use. Storm straps come supplied with the actual all-season model, and that helps to give it brace across the width. You can exchange these for, well, buy additional kind of yellow-green ones if you really want to, but again, that's down to yourself as well. Other things to mention is small little details like the ability of a little clip here. That's basically you can clip the kind of windbreak directly into there. So if you want to create a nice little enclosure, you can also do so. But I'll tell you what, let's have a little walk inside the Ace All Season and talk through a few more features that it has built in. So now inside the awning, you can get a bit more of a grasp for certainly the sheer depth you got in here. Like I said, that 325 away from the actual main body is really quite boastful. And actually means that you kind of put things a bit further away from the caravan as well. So when you come out the actual door to come into your awning, you're not suddenly on top of everything, and it means that you're utilising your space a lot better, especially with those kind of more upright fronts. It allows everything to kind of just be sort of further away, so it feels a little bit bigger than it actually really is. Now, what we've got, like I said, is the we'll kind of work sort of around it. So the air beams comes directly into the front. So your inflation valve comes in from the front, the air then comes out and distributes itself through these points. Now, even at a single inflation point, you can kind of isolate off each individual beam, meaning that if you had a sort of a leak or a puncture, God forbid, it's located just that one individual place. You can undo it like sort of a garden hose, replace it, or if need be, just repair it on site. So again, it's a really quite carefully thought out system, and one that Camper, well, slash Dometic have kind of ran with now for quite a few years, so it's definitely tried and tested and put through its pace. To that as well, what you can also say is like the ability, small little details built in here, things like the ability to put lighting inside the actual awning. So you've got little Velcro tabs for saber lights to go in there, and again you can run off sort of, you've got a single, not only put it here, but you've got it also in the roof section here, so you can alter where you want to put it, plus the fact that you can run up to 3 lights off one single point and one remote control, so you can alter how intense that light also is. Other things to sort of think about as well is the ability of having a really nice breathable flooring in here. And there's lots and optional extras you can look at. We've got a separate video to that, and I'll probably pick up on a few sort of crucial ones a bit later on. Overall, lots of windows, and you say you get great clarity throughout, but then you've got those sort of privacy curtains when you want to. So the curtains come included, and that kind of caravan style curtain, like you can see here, a nice kind of pattern as well, so it's not just say like a bathtub kind of white. So you can unclip those, bring those across to get the privacy when you want it to. And then what you can also do is it's got a little bit of a tape on the panels that slope, just to make sure that is nice and close to the main body, just like I said, to get that kind of privacy fully. Alternatively, you can kind of again just pull them back. They've got their own little retainer, so there's a little kind of button press stud, so it just keeps it nice and easy. That means it's easy to get in and out. As we're on the front panel, we've also got the ability to create a veranda, so there's a couple of basically 4 zips per each one, so you can sort of drop that down like I have here, and you can actually buy a veranda pole which slots directly into this point here, and that helps to kind of give a bit more structure, but also, you know, give you a proper full-on veranda kind of style. On the side panels, like I said, on the outside we've got this mesh. One side's got a mesh into it. There's also mesh built into the door here as well. So you've got a normal door and then a mesh door behind it. So in theory you can have lots of circulation there. So you can have a mesh door, a mesh side window and a mesh door on the other side. If you want that next level of mesh, what you can also do as well is there a secondary zip behind the front panel where you buy a whole sort of front panel set. So it goes in the front 3 panels, and then you've got the ultimate of ventilation. The joys of having it kind of that secondary zip is the fact that you can leave the panel in place, have the mesh behind it, just drop the main panel down like we have here, and you've still got that sort of mesh in place. Certainly better for kind of those kind of hotter countries, or even in the UK and sort of Scotland, you know, when it gets to bug or midge season, you know, those pesky bikers can be a right pain in the arse. Other things to sort of point out as well is that we've got obviously pegging points internally. As I said on the outside, pegs and pumps also come included. On the whole, optional extras, I'll probably say like the bread and butter items I would recommend for this model would be one to be rear poles to basically firmly press the foam pad directly against kind of the motorhome or caravan just to keep it sealed. You can also twin that up with some limpets as well just to kind of increase the seal. Flooring is again a must as well, and they do a tailor-made flooring which you can always check out in the link below. A draft skirt of some sort, because this fits a caravan and a motorhome now, a draft skirt is not included with this awning, and again depends on what you've really got. They do like a 4-meter draft skirt with dual fixing, so you can actually use limpets to attach onto a main body, and also a wheel arch cover would also be a bit of a must because some have twin, some have single axles, depends on what you're really looking to fit it onto. Storm straps, like I said, come included with this, so you haven't got to worry too much about that. But overall, I think it's a really nice bit of kit. You've got other accessories like hanging poles, storage units you can hang down. You've got oversized beams in here as well, so it makes really good sort of structure and strength, really nice and sturdy, and that sort of electric pump really helps to crank it up to the correct pressure. Additional things, if you have got like a winder or your rails not necessarily flush, I would also recommend some packing pads just to kind of sort of take that gap up between where the winder is. If not, just kind of get a bit more torsion in the roof fabric itself. But I'll tell you what, let's pick the camera up now and have a little bit of a tour around the actual awning to kind of get a bit more of a better feel about it. So like I said, now we're sort of inside, albeit the light's a bit sunny outside. So you've got this kind of extra fixing system here. So that's the actual chamber which actually then extends up. You've got the apex vent, as we can see here, and the foam pad with multiple holes. Now, what you find actually is this point here, when you have a motorhome, it swings out to take up the gap, as most winder awnings aren't necessarily flush. You've got little white toggles located here as well, and they are basically for a roof line to help reduce condensation, but also to insulate the awning as well. The kind of black toggles are actually for a bedroom that you can buy to go inside if you wanted to. It's kind of the universal bedroom, it's the best. Alternatively, you can buy a range of annexes to basically remove that side panel, and annex can go on there as extensions, as we've already talked about a while. I say the brow canopy pole comes out quite nice and neatly. So you've got a good shelter away from the point, and that works really quite smartly as well. And that's the little kind of lugs just located here for the veranda pole, which would normally kind of go in place. We'll sort of step out the awning and do a bit more of a 360 around it as well. So as you kind of come out, I've just dropped that door down a little bit just to kind of give it more of an access point. But you've got that kind of apex roof system, as you can see there, which the vent means is always open. And there's an additional zip along the very top of the awning. Basically, that's designed so you can actually buy a sun canopy, which is basically give you extra shelter, but also give you a bit more of a extension at the front here. So it increases the life of the awning. Other things as well to mention is the fact that, like I said, not only can you buy extensions, you can buy sun wings if you wanted the wing to go out the front of it, and they share the same sun wing as the club. So the club almost is a similar sort of depth. It's just the Ace comes out a little bit deeper, well, about 50 centimeters deeper at the very front. But overall, I think it's a nice bit of kit. Sits really well. That all-season fabric is really nice, and certainly I can feel the temperature difference walking in and out, and that's on a mildly warm day in the UK, let alone kind of a piping hot day, sort of kind of in mainland Europe. The previous kind of Ace, you know, one of its sort of USPs in many ways was the ability to add actually front panels at the front. And that's probably, I'd say, one of the things that is a little bit disappointing on this model is that they've kind of got rid of that. So you did have the ability to put kind of screens in front of the windows to protect them for when you leave it up on site. You haven't got that in this model. Kind of Dometic's kind of come back to that really, is that the PVC's harder wearing than it ever has been before. So it should have more enough oomph behind it to kind of happily handle that on an all-season site. But you can certainly see, like I say, from a hide-room height here, how spacious this thing really is. I'm right at the front panel there, and I can still stand up, and I'm about 6'2". And that's one of the things I do love about this. It does feel just kind of very big, and that dual pitch system, so they've got a dual pitch roof system, which means that you get good drainage away from the water when pitched correctly, but also, you know, amazing interior heights in here. And that's one thing I think that just helps to, like I said, make it all feel a bit nice and airy. But for, like I said, more information, by all means check the link below this video, take you straight through to our website where we've got all information about pack sizes, pack weights, all the other videos related to the Ace All season as well as other bits and bobs about optional extras that you can kind of get with it, and anything you really kind of need. If you want to let us know, we'd love to hear from you guys about what you think about this particular awning in the kind of comments box below. But for the time being, that's kind of our video review on the brand new Dometic Ace All season in the 400 and also the larger 500 as well.